Do you want the light on or do you want the light off? Do you like it better dark or do you want to see what you're doing? This is kind of...
It's an uncomfortable question to ask me.
I mean, it's personal preference. I mean, for my sake, I want to know, what I'm looking at or what I'm barreling down on.
Yeah, I'm reminded of that. I can't remember. I think it's Monster. Kanye has a line where he's like, how are you going to judge him when you never fucked with the lights on? Something like that.
I refer back to Scrubs when he said, we're all God's children in the dark.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So you could just imagine whatever the hell you're doing in the dark, and it might be true or it might be
it's kind of terrifying.
Horrifically erroneous. But anyway, we gotta speed this one up because we got a Super Bowl to watch.
I know they're very important things are going on.
We got a coronation of Saint Thomas Brady of the Buccaneers clan to supreme being of the Lord of the realm of the NFL.
Yeah, the national holiday. By the way, I
Brady Day. Do I hear a Brady Day coming on?
No, I'm just talking about the Super Bowl in general. But why isn't Super Bowl Monday a national holiday? I don't want to go to work.
You make
tomorrow.
Every fucking thing else a goddamn holiday.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's we got to do that today. So we got to hurry up and just get this shit over with.
Right.
All right. Well, in the interest of just hurrying the fuck up, let's drop in. Weapons of Meme Destruction Podcast episode 30 can be found at wmdpodcast.com/30 and all your podcast catchers, YouTube. Like, subscribe, share. Tell all the people about how awesome we are.
In the interest of full disclosure, we are recording this episode not having dropped episode 29. So we're recording this episode not knowing if we've been canceled yet or not. So let's just...
That is true.
Let's keep plowing on.
Very worried about that title.
How far we can make this thing until we run out of gas,
Yeah. And, we have gotten some feedback from listeners about likes, dislikes, things we can improve. And what we hear almost as a resounding refrain is that episode 5 was everybody's favorite. Now, if you're a latecomer, episode 5 was more of a playful episode from your humble co-host here, where David talked about a real life experience with an asshole bike rider not staying in his own lane.
Real life experience with a fake Tour de Francer.
David, let's not get worked up again. That was several weeks ago.
I'm still hot.
I think you've put that behind
I'm still hot. I'm ready to go.
So
both barrels, whenever you're fucking opening the door, I'm ready for you.
So we thought, let's give the people what they want, right?
I don't. What does that mean? What do you?
More of a lighthearted kind of freewheeling episode.
We have been kind of serious for the past couple of weeks.
We have been. So we want to lighten the mood a little bit.
Okay. And in light that it is kind of an American holiday today, we should.
Now listen. Everybody knows that David is by far the more entertaining of the two podcast hosts.
That's not true.
And I will fully admit that I am not being me if I don't interject some sort of serious real world thing in here and there, but that is not the objective of this particular episode. I just want to put that out there first.
The objective,
if you hear me do it, you're going to be like, oh, here goes Dane again.
The objective of this episode is to have no objective at all.
Yes.
It is to be devoid of anything, to where it encompasses everything.
Yes. I mean, we're gonna launch off with Super Bowl and our thoughts, considering this is Super Bowl Sunday, the date of this recording. But wherever the conversation goes after that is where it goes. So, David, as you alluded to in the intro, Saint Brady, first of his name.
Right.
How do you feel about him getting number 7 today?
Well, in my heart of hearts, I can't help but realize it's probably going to happen. Like, my brain says, no offense to any Tampa Bay Buccaneers fans, I'm actually a big Bucs fan myself, and
he's not though. He just doesn't.
I've always liked the Bucs. I've never had anything against them. I've had no reason to.
It doesn't mean you're a fan. It just means you don't hate them.
Excuse me.
You're a Bucs fan, like I am a Lions fan.
Sure,
I love the Lions, root for them all the time. But I'm not a Lions fan. A bunch of people that
I've always liked have played for them: John Lynch, Rondé Barber, Mike Allstott, all the way down the line. Like they invented literally the Tampa 2. They invented a completely different defense that had never been seen before, or like an accentuation of a defense that was seen before. But anywho, not important.
Let's not get too much inside baseball.
I've got nothing against the Bucs. I actually do like the Bucs.
Just really hates Tom Brady.
He
really hates.
And I've got a couple of friends that are big Bucs fans. I'm like, you understand that your team isn't going to the Super Bowl. Tom Brady is going to the Super Bowl with your team.
But hold on.
Go ahead.
Hold on. Can I pump the brakes just for a second?
Go ahead.
Listen. Yes, the Bucs were a middle of the pack team last year, but you got to understand, Jameis Winston, did he throw more than 30 picks last year?
He did.
So what I'm saying is, they have a lot of offensive weapons. Their defense is not garbage.
But he was also hit a lot last year.
It's not like Tom Brady went to Cleveland. Well, okay, Cleveland maybe an outdated example.
Well, it wasn't had a good season. Exactly. It's not like he went to
Cincinnati,
right?
Exactly. And took them.
It's funny that we both went to the exact same team. It wasn't hard.
We're like orange NFC or AFC North.
It's gotta be
other
shitty.
Sucky team.
In a shitty fucking, no offense to Cincinnati, but you guys aren't excelling the best fucking
how about more appropriate
location.
How about more appropriate? He didn't go to Jacksonville, the current holders of the number 1 pick. Okay, so.
Poor Jacksonville.
Let's just be honest.
My heart goes out to you guys.
The Bucs did have some tools, and they were a solid quarterback. Obviously, they didn't know the GOAT was going to fall in their laps, but they were a solid quarterback away from being a legitimate contender, and here they are. So,
well, he was also hit a lot last year too.
Let's not undercut the team or the franchise of the Bucs too much.
No, they had a lot of weapons, and they were a bubble team that just needed and then not for expose to expose. Our team did literally the exact same thing. Like the girl that we were never supposed to get, i.e. Peyton Manning, just dropped in our fucking lap.
Did you just assume Peyton Manning's gender, by the way?
Well, I mean, he's that girl that every team in the NFL wanted, but they knew that they were just untouchable. But then a certain year arose that he had surgery on his neck, and then all of a sudden they went 1-14 and picked up this prospect that was just, this is a once-in-a-generation prospect. You'll never see another quarterback like this ever. So they sold out the boy that brought them the fucking cup, brought them the bowl. Oh, we had technical difficulties.
How in the hell how did that happen?
We've heard this about you before.
Okay, got it.
Okay, he's got it back in the
Sorry, I made a whoopsie and dropped my mic out of the stand.
He picked the whole bouquet of whoopsie daisies.
I sure
did. And then we profited off of that by them going 1-14 and getting the best quarterback prospect the NFL's ever seen, and then dumped poor Peyton Manning, one of the most prolific quarterbacks that's ever been, and we just so happened to pick him up. Even at that time, I was like, I don't like that, because we told Tebow if he gets us to the playoffs,
let alone win a game,
let alone win a fucking game, he had no business winning. I think the first pass he threw was like a slant pattern. Did it make it back to the line of scrimmage? I think it made it past the left tackle.
You're so rude.
It just buried into the fucking ground. That guy won a fucking playoff game. And then we lost to the Patriots that year too. So the next year we pick up Peyton. It's like, but we told Tebow, and poor Tebow Tebow mania was right.
Are you going somewhere with this story?
my whole point is that I realize the hypocrisy
because we've sucked since then. So it hurts me to relive.
That's what I'm warning.
If you haven't
Bucs
figured this
fans
out, everybody, we're Broncos fans, and it hasn't been a good 5 years since 2015.
No, exactly. So you're selling your soul to the devil. You're selling your future for the right now. But we got a Super Bowl out of it. Could have got 2 Super Bowls out of it.
Find me a Bucs fan who's mad about that.
Right. Well, okay, fine. If you're willing to follow our diagram of what it looks like to have a legendary quarterback come to your team and then just bounce house. How are the Patriots doing, by the way? They're going through the same shit that we did.
No, here's what I love the most about that story.
Go for it.
Is I have maintained for a very, very long time that Brady was the catalyst to that Patriots stuff. Yes, the Patriots have their own, the quote-unquote Patriot way, right? Where they don't overpay veterans and they're willing to let them go, or they're willing to use them for, trade ammo to retool and reload. So they're never actually rebuilding. They're just constantly staying at that top level. Okay, front office, good. Belichick, maybe decent coach, whatever. But Brady was the catalyst to that whole thing, and I feel utterly vindicated by that. Now, maybe Belichick retools and, he wins another 5 Super Bowls in the next 10 years. Whatever. Not going to be happy about it, and I'll eat some crow winning if that happens. But as we sit here today, with the Patriots not making the playoffs, and let's be honest, Cam Newton's not a joke. Their team didn't substantially change between losing Tom Brady.
Okay.
They should listen. Not saying they could have dethroned the Chiefs in the AFC, but I'm saying the Patriots could have at least been a playoff contender with Cam Newton. And the rest of again, if the narrative is true that Belichick was really the kind of motivating force behind that whole thing, and I just say it's bunk. It was Brady. Players wanted to come there and play because of Brady, because Brady gave them the best chance to win. The team, you gave him consistently. Listen, I love Peyton just as much as the next guy, but nobody will ever be able to convince me that Peyton did not, throughout the course of his career, play with a caliber of receivers far and away more talented than everything that Tom Brady ever played with. Other than Gronk and that couple years with Randy Moss and stuff like that.
But they didn't win
Tom
a Super
Brady
Bowl
elevated his receivers.
They didn't win a Super Bowl with Moss. Never won a Super Bowl.
I understand that. But what I'm saying is
But Peyton never had the fucking...
Okay, I'm not going to get into a Peyton versus Tom debate on this episode because I know where you stand with it.
You know exactly
all
where
I'm saying is
I know where you should stand, and by standing on the other side, I'm mortified.
What I'm saying is the Patriots dynasty is a Tom Brady dynasty.
Okay,
it's not a Patriots dynasty.
Let me cite this for you, okay? Let me cite this for you. How many careers did Peyton go down?
This is going off the rails quick.
No. How many careers did Peyton getting injured make? 0. How many careers did Tom Brady getting injured make? Multiple. Because who took over for him when they... Oh, by the way, they invented a rule.
Okay, you're essentially saying Tom Brady's a system quarterback. I hear you.
I'm not saying system. No. Let's just call spade.
You're saying Matt Castle stepped in for an 11-5 season and got paid.
Got him
by the
to
Chiefs.
The playoffs with the same team that...
They didn't go to the playoffs that year. They went 11-5 and didn't make the playoffs.
Fuck, you're right. But what about Garoppolo? Did he make a whole career off of that? Yes, he did.
Garoppolo was way after the fact, and it wasn't because Tom Brady got injured.
There's 2 quarterbacks. Yes, it was. Tom Brady missed the first 4 games of that season.
And look at what Garoppolo is.
Garoppolo stood in and made a whole fucking career.
No.
He won...
It wasn't because Tom Brady got injured.
Was it 3-1? He got suspended, didn't he? He couldn't play the first...
He got suspended
because of Deflate
Garoppolo played
because he got caught cheating in a Super Bowl, and we'll get to that as soon enough.
Not in the Super Bowl, but... It was the AFC Championship game against the Colts.
That led him to the Super Bowl. And then a very questionable Super Bowl that the Atlanta jumped out to a 21-3 lead and somehow lost to Tom Brady in overtime.
Listen.
Tom Brady defies the statistics. And then I'm supposed to ignore the statistics of the likelihood that the team that's hosting the fucking Super Bowl this year just so happens to make it.
Okay, but here's
where holding call.
Here's where the system argument vis-a-vis Tom Brady falls apart.
Sure.
is if we say that Garoppolo and Castle are proof of the system quarterback nature and that they were successful, got big contracts, went to other teams, and then ended up not being as good as their contracts would suggest they were. That doesn't explain the fact that Tom Brady then goes to Tampa Bay in his first year and goes to a Super Bowl. Now, we've already established that Tom Brady has a lot of weapons in Tampa Bay. But I would venture to say that Tom Brady's imprint on the system that existed in New England, at least from the offensive side of the ball, that allowed a Garoppolo and Castle to go and get paid elsewhere. Tom Brady was just as much an imprint of that system as would say Josh McDaniels. Because, here's my proof, because Tom Brady goes to a completely different system with a different coach, with a different philosophy in Bruce Arians, and takes the team straight to a Super Bowl.
What was their record?
I don't know, 10-6, 11-5.
10-6.
Whatever.
10-6. And then
Super Bowl doesn't matter.
For the last,
I don't care if they go 7-9 and win their division.
Games, were there some questionable calls that favored the Bucs? Yes, absolutely.
Listen.
It happens. You want to tell the listeners what we truly think about the NFL? Do you want to say it?
No, I don't.
Folding chairs?
No, I don't.
You want to go folding chairs?
I don't.
You want to go top turnbuckle?
No.
You want to go fucking Vegas?
No.
Okay.
I actually want to leave this.
You want to just leave this as a just a fucking argument about, because this is what it always tracks back to.
Right.
Like, is Brady the man? I don't think he is. I think he's really good at checking down.
I'm not saying is Brady the man versus the whole league. I'm saying in the whole question of the Patriots dynasty, is it Brady or is it Belichick? It's very clearly Brady.
It wasn't very clearly Brady. It obviously wasn't, because guess what? Where would the Patriots be if Brady had allowed, which most fucking franchise quarterbacks do, would allow the Patriots, and that's why I brought up those two quarterbacks before him, would allow the Patriots to draft somebody that would eventually be his replacement, like an Aaron Rodgers to the Brett Favre. Like, he didn't allow that.
Or like Jordan Love is to Aaron Rodgers currently.
Right. Sure. Why not? But I would say the reason that the Patriots were caught with their pants down this year, which is why they were relegated, they didn't choose Cam Newton. They were relegated to Cam Newton, was because of Tom
they chose
Brady's.
Him.
He was they were making the best of a bad situation. I can guarantee you.
He was on the quarterback market for free agents this year. He was the premier option available.
We'll see if he gets a contract next year.
It's not like, Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, and Patrick Mahomes were all on the free agent market this year, and they chose Cam Newton. He was the best option they had. He was the best
they were making the best of a bad situation. And why were they in that bad situation? If you were saying that they reload, that every year they don't restock, they don't rebuild, they reload, why didn't they have a quarterback in the wings that was just a fucking killer that could come in whenever Tom Brady can't?
Because Tom Brady is irreplaceable. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Because Tom Brady made himself irreplaceable and wouldn't let them draft anybody that would replace him. Every time they had a legitimate replacement for him, they would ship out. They shipped out all their talent.
Okay, fine. However, if you're going to make that argument, you have to understand that it also applies to your boy Peyton. Sure. Because Peyton was famous.
The whole reason we won that Super Bowl was because of Osweiler.
Peyton was famous for never allowing his backups to take reps in practice. Sure. And now his argument, and I'm sure if he
wanted all the reps he could possibly get to make himself the best.
If he were sitting right here, he would be our best buddy, and he'd be regular old charming Peyton, and God bless the guy. He would tell you, and he would tell you,
if this launches us.
By the way, did you hear he's going in the Hall of Fame? He just got inducted this year.
Fuck yeah, he is.
I mean, we knew he was, but I'm just saying, like this
first
is
ballot.
Like, he's going
first
this
ballot?
year. Yes,
first ballot. Of course he is.
Well, duh. But I'm just saying, like, this is
that makes me so happy.
Anyway,
such a bull.
Peyton.
He is such a bull.
I'm sure if he was sitting here right now, he'd say, yeah, I wanted to take all the reps because I wanted to be the most prepared possible, and I was going to start on Sunday. And that might be true. But all I'm saying is, if you're going to say that, it's because Tom Brady wouldn't let anybody that could even remotely challenge him get a foothold in the quarterback room, That applies to.
But you have to understand where you're at. Great quarterbacks. You have to understand where you're at in your career. Yeah, I'm not gonna when I'm in the middle, when I'm in the highlight of my career, when I'm 7 years in and I'm kicking on. That. It is though. It is about knowing your time and your place. Like if I'm a 13-year vet and I know I've got 2 seasons left in me, yeah, draft a quarterback. I know you're not going to replace me. Let me share some of that with him, which is an unsavory, which is why Brett Favre was kind of like looked down upon what he did in Green Bay. He still wanted to pull that shit instead of sharing it became a conflict.
No, and here's why.
And that's why I'm saying it became a conflict in Patriot town.
Here's why I'm never going to begrudge any great quarterback at the tail end of their career for not doing that. Please. First of all, it is not in their job description to groom their not their predecessor,
you don't think they owe it to the team that's invested billions upon millions
and I'm getting ready to tell you why. No, they don't owe it to the team because
the fans,
because the players
rooting him on for so long. Go ahead.
Because the players and everybody around the league jokes about it all the time that the NFL stands for not for long.
Right.
If you aren't producing for the team, if you aren't an asset to the team, if your stats don't justify your salary, et cetera, you are expendable.
You are part of a team, though.
Right. While you're playing.
Sure.
And so what I'm saying is you don't owe anything to that team or anything to the other players on that team to groom somebody else to take your job.
But I'd argue
you are replaceable.
I'd argue that you do. Because that same team is the one that's put bread on your fucking table for how long? Those fans, okay, maybe you don't
and
owe it.
And that same team would kick you to the curb at the first opportunity.
Maybe you don't owe it to the fans. Maybe you don't, Maybe you don't owe it to the team, but you owe it to the fans.
You don't owe it to anybody.
See, why? That's where we differ.
Why do you owe it to the fans? No, the organization owes to the fans every effort they can make to put the best product on the field that they possibly can. That's it. The individual players owe nothing to the fans. The individual players are putting, in some cases, quite literally.
That's so fucking false. It's so fucking false.
How could it be false? This isn't Dude, a scientific
I don't wear a jersey
law.
With my own name on it. I wear a jersey with another dude's name on it. The whole point of the jersey is that it should be worn by something you revere, either by yourself or by the person. And there is go ahead and look at the numbers. David, how many Brady jerseys have been sold over the years?
You're getting it completely backwards, though. Just because a fan chooses to love a player and buy a player's jersey does not mean that that player now owes that fan something. What that player owes anybody, whether it be the organization, his teammates, or the fans, is to conduct
individual aspect.
Is to conduct himself as a professional, to prepare for every game, to play the best that he possibly can, to put his team and his teammates
to do what the team asks of him.
Right, in the best chance, in the best
and how does
way
training
possible
his
to win.
Predecessor not fall under that column?
Because that's somebody that's going to take your job.
You said you have a debt to the team that you have to keep. If you want that team, if you're a team member and you want to help the team out in whatever capacity, you just said that, you should be willing to not only accept a predecessor, but train him as well.
I'm going to track back to the Peyton example.
Go for it.
Because when Peyton says, I took all the snaps because I was going to start on Sunday and I am the best chance that this team has to win, then he is doing what's best for the team by doing what's best for himself.
But what was he also famously doing while he was on the sidelines with Osweiler? He was telling him what he needed to know and coaching him up.
No, Peyton Manning is not going to get any more credit with Denver than he did with Curtis Painter in Indianapolis.
Victory Painter?
About coaching up his predecessor. There's a difference between saying, yes, this is why I went to this receiver on this play because I saw this defense and here's why, and saying, okay, I'm going to give up 30% of my practice reps to you so that you can get better and eventually replace me. Those are two very different things.
Oh, hold on, but there's two very different things just within that example. Peyton knew he was closing in on the end of his career. Tom Brady should know that he's closing in on the end of his career.
So according to who?
He should know that.
Who? again, that's a normative statement. He should know. Why?
Because he's
by
old,
what metric?
Because he's one huge hit away from getting fucking removed. He's never
As
been
is
hit.
every single player, whether it's their first day in the league or their
but
thousandth.
let's go ahead and rank up like what does the body do when you're 25 versus what does the body do when you're 40 plus? Like you know there's a timeline on this game.
And if Tom Brady,
if you're edging if you're edging towards the latter end of your timeline, you should be willing to accept the fact that you're at the latter end of your timeline.
If Tom Brady he has an entire program. It's called TB12.
Yeah.
Where the whole purpose,
or is that a program, or is that more of a ploy? Go ahead, tell it to me. Go.
If you were to ask Tom Brady what is the purpose of his TB12 program, he would tell you to keep my body in the best shape I possibly can to play as long as I can.
Is having one of the best offensive
lines
each and every year perennially, is that part of the TB12?
David,
is being vegan a part of being TB12?
That's not the point. The point is that Tom Brady is not looking at it the way you're looking at it. He's not saying, oh, just because the calendar has switched over. Well, listen, I would venture to tell you,
as a team member, individualism is frowned upon.
I would venture to bet you that all of the players that have played with him throughout the course of his career would probably stand here and tell you that his quote unquote individualism was not a detriment to the team. In fact, it was an asset. If it could even be termed as individualism.
Well, it's funny how often they say that the conduct of the quarterback is a detriment. Blah, 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 blah. However, a wide receiver can be a detriment to a quarterback. White fucking privilege. That's what I'm saying. Second fucking time? Really?
Racist.
I was going to make a bullshit argument about white privilege, and you just knocked your mic out for a second time.
All right, you know what? I think I got it tilting down, and I should not be doing
shit, Sherlock.
I should sit up in my chair with proper posture.
You should fucking make an effort, Tom Brady.
I need to Dane 3 my way into this
and I'll DH6 my way into this
career.
Fucking bullshit.
Listen, listen, we told the people this was a freewheeling episode and we didn't know where it was going to go. It wasn't supposed to get that serious.
I'm not serious.
So can you white privilege me some Tom Brady again?
Yeah, I'm going to white privilege you some blah, 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 blah. How many black quarterbacks have been in the Super Bowl? How about that? You want to go with that?
What's the point you're trying to make here? Why is this?
Well, it seems like there's a hollowed ground on QB positions, which are mainly attained by white folk, and you can never talk bad about how the quarterback played, except for every other season or every other week.
I don't think
I'm making a bullshit argument here about white privilege. My whole point being is that you can blame a wide receiver for not catching a pass. You can blame a hubba. But Tom Brady, even in his worst year, would not take full blame. He's like, we didn't do it. We didn't catch it. We didn't do it. Like, there's a litany of people that say, I didn't play good enough today. I'll come back out the next day. And it tracks the way back to the handshakes. It tracks all the way back to the handshakes.
And that's finally we've arrived.
And finally we've arrived. When my boy Peyton had lost to show boy Tom Brady.
Listener, you're about to find out why David has so much hatred for Tom Brady.
He's not a good sport. And I need that out of somebody that's going to be revered that much in the league. Like, Peyton got bested by him 2 or 3 years in a row.
I think got bested by Peyton.
No, Peyton got bested by Tom.
Oh, okay.
3 years in a row in the AFC Championship, and he always walked out or jogged out, shook his hand. Good luck in the Super Bowl, yada yada yada. The first year that Peyton beat him in the AFC Championship, Tom Brady jogged to the locker room and did not shake Peyton's hand. That was one time. That was one off. And I'm telling you, go ahead.
I've said this to you 1,000 times.
I know you have. You're going to use yourself as a reference. I don't give a fuck. Go ahead.
I'm just going to say it here for all the WMD podcast listeners. Is that
if you haven't picked up on this already, go ahead.
I agree with you 10,000% on that point. I get the whole lack of sportsmanship. I get the whole not shaking the opponent's hand. I get like he still does it to this day. He's now going into his 10th Super Bowl. He's won 6 of them. Like, what does this dude have to be salty about when he loses? Fine. All I'm saying is, if those are the reasons for disliking the guy on a personal level, I get it. I understand it. I don't blame you. But those things stand separate and apart from the other things that he's done in his career to be termed...
To be the master of the checkdown?
The GOAT.
Can you be the master of the checkdown?
Okay, but
he takes credit for that.
We can fire up Madden right now, and I'll just check down the whole game, and I'll probably lose 50% of my games.
Yeah, because Madden's not real life. You know what happens is he's got fucking weapons around him.
What I'm saying is,
and he goes 1, 2, 3, check down.
But what I'm trying to say is,
go for it.
That simply checking down in its own right, or throwing the underneath crossing route, or whatever the case may be, is not in and of itself conclusive evidence that he's not worthy of the moniker of GOAT. What I'm saying is, throughout the course of the entire existence of the NFL, there have been so many Hall of Famers and so many great players who have never even sniffed a Super Bowl, and the guy has gone to 10.
But when has it been so commercialized? When has the NFL been so commercialized?
Fine.
Guess what?
But what I'm saying
I'm telling you, he doesn't
respect the man's
my whole point
abilities.
About this, and this will probably be the fulcrum of the whole episode, is that he doesn't belong there this year. I know that this is an unpopular opinion, or it might be popular in New Orleans, and it might be popular in Cheesetown up in Wisconsin. Like, this motherfucker needed a team, number one, to get past the Saints, a team that had slapped them across the face multiple times this year, and they had no business being on the field with them. They turned it over 4 times, and then on top of the 4 turnovers, they also had 7 points removed from them by a questionable block in the back. And then also we'll fast forward and I'll just scrimp it through. They were against the Green Bay Packers, they were letting him, quote unquote, letting them play all game long until it came down to the most pivotal fucking play of the game. Then all of a sudden the flag came out in Tom Brady's favor. All I'm saying is,
David,
is that your heroes are fictional and they're not steeped in logic. That's all I'm saying. Like, if we were going logical, he should have gotten his ass whipped in Saintsville. Or option B, if that didn't happen, the Green Bay Packers should have beat them. But yes,
okay,
absolutely. Let's remove all of that extraneous value and let's just crown him as being the most, let's call a spade, the most marketable face that the NFL has ever had, ever. And I'm not just talking about his face, obviously, but his body of work. He's the most marketable person that the NFL has ever had, and they're going to squeeze that sponge until there is not one drop left in him. Can we say that?
Fine. I thought this episode was going to be funnier. Why are you so salty, bro?
I'm salty because he's
salty.
led to so many bad moments in my life.
You are so cured to the point of we don't even need
cured. Is that like a new hip term for salty?
No. It's a reference to the saltiness.
That's what I said.
Like you've been wrapped in salt so long on this topic that you're so cured we didn't even need to cook you. Okay, we could just like slice right off the bone right there.
Mean streets of wherever you're from.
No, I'm talking about in the world before refrigeration, when they didn't need to freeze meat, or they couldn't freeze meat because they didn't have the technology to do it, and they cure the meat with salt. That you salt it for 10 to 16 months, and then it becomes edible,
right,
to the point that you don't even need to cook it.
Right.
So what I'm saying is, you're that salty.
That's what we agreed upon.
You are pre the invention of refrigeration salty, bro.
You're damn right I am. Because I've been pre the invention of refrigeration pissed off for however many years.
Okay.
These people.
Well, I mean, that's it, baby. That's the sode.
That's the Super Bowl.
That's the sode on Super Bowl 55.
Is this 55?
Bro, we're getting old, man.
This is from...
We're getting old.
The way back.
We're getting old AF.
From the way back.
Yeah.
Jesus.
55, my guy.
When did we start watching Super Bowls? In like 33?
I think the first one I watched was 95 or 6, whichever one was the Cowboys and Steelers, which I want to say was like 29 or 28. But yes, Cowboys Steelers 96 or 97 was the first one I ever watched. First one that I watched that I was like I knew what was going on and I knew enough about football was Packers Patriots, the Brett Favre Super Bowl where Desmond Howard took the kickoff back. That was the year, I believe, the year after Cowboys Steelers. And then the next year was obviously Broncos Packers. So, as a Broncos fan, then, it was off to the races in terms of my fandom.
I think the first
But yeah, so we've been watching intently since 97, 98. So we have watched a little less than 50% of the Super Bowls.
I think the first one I ever logged onto and like watched it because I wanted to watch football was, it's funny that this is the episode, the Buccaneers versus the Raiders.
Yeah. 2002, I think.
Yeah. No. That couldn't have been it.
No, it was because it was I
was 10. I was only 10.
It was 2002, and I'll tell you why. Because the Super Bowl before that was Patriots-Rams, Tom Brady's first Super Bowl. Then it was Buccaneers-Raiders, and then Tom Brady's second Super Bowl, which was Patriots-Panthers, was
2002.
It was played in 2003, but it was the 2002 season. Or no, it was 2002.
You're right, it is the 2002 season.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was the first one I actually paid attention to. I did watch the Bucs. I did watch the Broncos. I did watch Green Bay play when Desmond Howard returned it against the Cowboys.
That was because
one of my best friends was a huge Green Bay Packers fan for no fucking reason at the time. And then I remember vaguely knowing that you liked the Broncos the year later and knowing that my friend liked the Green Bay Packers. So I was ambivalent to the thing. And then I think the year after that, I got engaged. But
so now the Mimis know a lot about us.
Mm-hmm.
We hope you like what you see.
They know that we have fervent views of NFL quarterbacks and history and so on and so forth.
Some of us more fervent than others.
But all that being said, like, I did watch a video earlier that kind of softened my heart towards Brady.
Which we'll put in the show notes page.
The mean tweets.
It was one of those, you've seen those Jimmy Kimmel's, celebrities read mean tweets and, people send in stuff to Tom Brady about how much he sucks and they hate him and he has a butt chin and stuff. So we'll put that in the show notes. Definitely go over to WNBpodcast.com/30 to find those show notes. But more importantly, when you get over there on the homepage, go to that
smash it
for the email list. Sign up for that email list because that's where you'll hear from us more often than once a week. But other than that, like and subscribe on YouTube. Same way with all the podcast catchers. Next week, maybe we'll get back to a more serious topic. Try to make it light and funny.
Try to slap a little bit more.
David can't help himself from being light and funny, except for when you talk about Tom Brady. Apparently.
I get fucking serious.
He gets heated.
But anyway, whoever wins the Super Bowl, congratulations, whether it be Tom Brady and the Bucs or
and
the
as
Chiefs.
Broncos fans, we vehemently dislike the Chiefs franchise, but God damn it if we can't respect Patrick Mahomes.
God bless you, Mahomes.
That kid is from another galaxy, and it's
doing
gonna
some
suck.
Next level shit.
It's gonna suck playing against him for the next 20 years as he beats the shit out of our team. But God bless it.
Not unless we get Trevor Lawrence.
Respect talent when you see it. So With that,
I'm
we're
holding
going
out
to
for
sign
Lawrence
off.
this offseason.
We hope that you had a great Super Bowl Sunday. We would wish it to you today, but you're not going to hear this for a little while. But we hope you had a great Super Bowl Sunday and that you
check back with us next week.
Yeah. I think that's
good.
Those are the words. That's the ones I was looking for.
But yeah, you just didn't find them. I'll find them for you.
Over and out.
All right, kiddos.
Let some of David's metal melt your face off.
Yee!